First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Andrew, give me a little background on this next issue here.
So yesterday it was announced that the Urban Renewal Agency was going to be selling, or has sold, pending Utica Common Council approval.
It was nice to see a building sale without controversy in Utica.
Oh, wrong.
Wait a minute. What don't I know?
Back up the truck.
This building, the former Northland Communications building, it's an interesting real estate piece of real estate.
There's more than one owner, right?
Right. So there's 3 parcels that are actually underneath the building. So the building was built on 3 parcels that the lot lines were never merged.
Okay.
So Vincent Bailey was one of the owners. Bank of America, when they closed down their operations, deeded their portion of the building to the city of Utica for $1, and one of the other portions the city took in foreclosure. So there was 3 portions, and Vincent Bailey owned one of them. The city of Utica owned the other 2. A portion of that building was taken by eminent domain.
I was going to say, I thought that was eminent domain, not foreclosure.
Well, right. They had acquired another parcel via foreclosure. So they took Mr. Bailey's by eminent domain, and their argument was that it was not marketable due to the fact that Mr. Bailey owned 1/3 of this building, or 20% of it. So the eminent domain process happened. The city took control. Went up.
They had to pay him, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't
fair
just
market value. He's arguing, and he has a good case for the fact that he was well under what the fair market value for the portion was. And the building was then put up on the Urban Renewal website, minimum bid of $600,000, and it was sold to Mr. Pezzinella for $400,000. And that was the announcement that came yesterday.
All right, and Vincent Bailey's on the line right now. Vince, good morning. What can you tell us?
Morning.
Good morning.
I think you summed it up, pretty well. It's just originally the city had planned to take the parking that, was and should be associated with that building, which is, currently owned by the Pezzinellas. And they said that was a major reason why they chose the Pezzinellas to, to sell it to them.
Because, just to expand on what Vincent's saying, is that the portion in between the city-owned, or actually on the up, so Mr. Bailey owned the portion of the building that was in between several parcels that the Pezzinellas already own, that's just surface parking on Court Street, and then wraps around to Cornelia, and the city-owned properties. So it was the two parcels of the building that the city owned. I said Palmieri, that the city owned. Then Mr. Bailey's, then the Pezzinella portions that were for parking.
So, Vincent, you feel you got screwed in this deal?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, they weren't operating, with good intentions.
Who's they? The city?
Yeah.
The city, Pezzinella, they kind of the same.
Listen, if I'm Pezzinella and I'm given an opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not fair to blame them. It's like somebody who's making a great salary. We can hate him for it, but the reality is I'd take that too, right?
Can I ask you this? Was there ever an option for you to buy the remaining 80% of the building?
No, I tried to. I, expressed interest in it. That's why I came to acquire the piece that I came to acquire.
And is it publicly known, or will you say what you were paid for your 20% of a building that they sold for $400,000?
I was paid $44,000.
So that's about 12% of 11% of the actual building sale.
Even still, I've got a story that's going to be going up on the website shortly that will hopefully include the appraisal that Mr. Bailey sent. There was an appraisal done prior to Urban Renewal's taking of the property before it went to eminent domain, and the appraisal for the building and the 3 parcels was $1 million. 20% of $1 million is $200,000.
That's interesting.
Additionally, the Pezzinellas made me an offer on my portion kind of before this started, and they offered me $150,000. And he said, "Listen, you can either take my offer or the city will take your property and then I'll buy it. And, well, I guess he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say
they knew that the city would, or was he just giving you what he believing and feeling like the city will just take your property through eminent domain? Or do you feel like he had inside information that he knew that's what would happen?
Yes.
Okay.
To the latter. I mean, additionally, I had a meeting with the city's attorney and the mayor, Palmieri. And in that meeting, I set the meeting up because I wanted to talk about my interest in buying the rest of it and developing it and, showing that I was, capable and fully willing to do so. But, during that meeting, they didn't want to hear anything about that. They wanted to talk to me about me selling them my portion. And after a little bit, I, tried to make it clear that I didn't have any interest in doing that. And that I had already received an offer from Pezzanella, to which I didn't seem surprised. And then they told me that I should just sell it to them, to Pezzanella. And I said, well, you're telling me that you can't sell me the rest of the building because that would be illegal because you don't own the whole thing. So how would it help you guys out if I sold it to Pezzanella?
Right. Why would that be legal?
Right, because as Mr. Bailey is saying, sounds like they fully intended to just turn around and sell him the other two portions of that property, the two parcels on the property.
Well, Vincent, I would say that we'll get Mayor Palmieri on Monday morning to discuss this, but that's a joke because that's never going to happen. But we'll try. Thank you for that, Jeff.
So, Mr. Bailey, let me ask you a question.
We will try.
Did you fight this in court and lose, or did you not put up a fight?
That's a very good point because the reality is, this has to be, any eminent domain action has to be argued in court and then approved by a judge.
It doesn't need to be argued, but yes, I did argue that they did not, have the proper footing to use eminent domain in this case, simply because they had no public use.
Right. They took it and just sold it. This was for a real estate transaction. That does not better the entire community.
Well, you could make that argument, and that argument was made with the hospital, too, if you remember. That was one of the contentions on eminent domain being used for the hospital, is that this isn't a government entity that's taking a property. This is MVHS, which is a private entity. Remember how that was being argued. The same thing would be thought of here, but you could argue that a developer developing a property would be for the betterment of the municipality.
That's a stretch. I mean, a public hospital is one thing. For this guy to open up a private business, which he's done many times, as Mr. Bailey pointed out, Pezzanellas do great things. I mean, Ocean Blue, you name the properties, the burger joint, the lofts, they do great things. But that's a stretch to be used in an argument for eminent domain that, hey, we feel it's in the best interest to give it to this developer. That's a stretch on using eminent domain.
But I would ask, how is that any different than when Donald Trump had the benefit of eminent domain in order to develop a hotel or something? How is that any different?
Has that happened? Where the government took property for him?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's wrong. But so this went to court? Are you saying this went to court? And can you explain what obviously we know what the judge ruled, but explain the explanation from the judge.
Explain that, and comment on what we were just talking about. It sounded like you wanted to comment on that.
Yep. So we did go to court. It goes in front of a panel of 5 judges. Mm-hmm. And our argument was that they didn't have, a proper reason to use eminent domain because they never disclosed what their public use or benefit would be. I can agree with you guys that, development of property can, benefit the community.
Correct. They
didn't disclose what the development was prior to.
So you feel that this is what you're explaining is that the mayor has favored developers that he works with, and Pezzanella is one of them, and you feel that this was going, no matter what you proposed, this was going to happen.
It's not so much that I feel that, which I do, but I was told that by Pezzanella himself.
What did he say to you
not,
specifically?
It's not so much of a feeling,
This is when he said
know,
that you either sell or the city's going to take the property. He told you that.
And sell it to him, is what he said.
Yeah. All right.
You know, and again, I don't have any inside information. This is totally me just reading what one person said in the story, but it actually sounds like Francis was trying to give you at least close to fair market value.
I don't think this was
Francis.
Francis. This is probably his dad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Whoever it was actually trying to do it the right way instead of he's saying, look, I'm trying to give you a fair amount of money for this building. If you don't take the money, the city's just going to come in and give you peanuts for it. I'm giving you a fair offer. Really consider this. Is that kind of what his offer was?
I don't know. I believe there's no right way to do a wrong thing.
Well, because that's the reality is there's a way.
He offered you 150, you got 44. But it sounds like he was trying to help you out
true.
a little bit.
That's why I don't blame the Pezzanellas.
Neither do I,
because they're just doing. They have an opportunity. But what Vincent, what you're saying though is there is a process by which this is supposed to be done.
Right.
And it should be fair and open and not determined before the process begins. And you're saying you do not believe that process was followed.
Correct.
And not to mention the Urban Renewal Agency website and Facebook page, and I know because I just pulled it up, it's still there, has each of their properties a listing price and a minimum bid price. And the minimum bid on the Northland Communication property is $600,000.
All right. So, Vincent, Monday we're gonna try to get somebody in from the city to talk about this. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Maybe you can be available for that on Monday too.
Yeah.
I'll let you work that out with Andrew. Thank you so much, Vincent.
So,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
do you know? Is this what happened with the MVHS? With the downtown hospital?
Well,
it went to a 5-panel judge board?
First of all, I don't think
there hasn't been any eminent
that
domain
hasn't
done
happened yet. These are the properties that are in question involving the garage.
Okay.
One of them being the one that Brett Truitt purchased and said, "I'm purchasing this to send the process
bought a
into."
lawsuit. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know how eminent domain works. I always thought it was just one judge, but I have no reason to believe that Vincent isn't correct. I mean, he just went through the process,
right?
and argued
heard of it that way before.
and argued in front of them. So, but whether it's somebody from Urban Renewal, Andrew, or it's the mayor or somebody from the mayor's office,
I've reached out to the mayor's office for a comment.
It would be nice to hear from them, and I think the public listening right now would like to know what happened in this deal.
Let me save you some time.
To be fair,
we checked the mayor's schedule. He can't join you on Monday. He's got a meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday aren't going to work. So I don't know.
Well, I'm hopeful that it doesn't work that way, and we actually get him on.